Hello friends, Allison Ramirez here, Christian author, editor, and content creator, here today with a brand new video. It's been a couple weeks since I posted something, but I'm happy to be back. My last video, if you haven't seen it, offers tips for marketing for Christian books. I could not come up with 100 tips like I mentioned that I was going to try to do, so I think there's 10 or 15 tips in my latest video if you want to check that out. Today's video is going to be all about alpha and beta readers for your Christian book. This is a really timely video for me because I actually have my latest work in progress with my beta readers right now. So I thought that this would be a good opportunity for me to film a video and just provide my tips and experiences with alpha and beta readers and encourage you if you are trying to find them yourself or just wondering what the heck are alpha and beta readers. So to start, when you are self-publishing your book, you really want to get feedback from readers before your book is actually published. The reason for this is because as the author, it's really easy to miss key things in the storyline, with the characters, with the content. You are with your manuscript so much that it's easy to become blinded to problems and errors in the book. So you never want to only just have yourself be the only one who reads the book before it's published. As writers, especially if you're more introverted and you're nervous about sharing your work with others, it can be daunting, if not scary, to give your unpublished book to someone and have them read it and give you their honest feedback. But I will say this is so important and so imperative if you really want to have a strong book. Because if you publish something and you don't know what anyone thinks about it, how do you know that your readers are actually going to enjoy it? So that's why alpha and or beta readers are so important. In a nutshell, these are people. They can be fellow writers, they can be friends, family, people in your community, strangers who volunteer to read your book and basically give their feedback. And so alpha is just meaning like the first round of readers and beta would be the second round. So for example, when I was working on my first book, I sent it out to maybe say 5 people. They were my alpha readers. And then they gave me their feedback. I made a bunch of changes. And then I found a brand new group of 5 new readers who then were my beta readers. Now, you may only have one round. And if that's the case, you'll just only have alpha readers and you wouldn't have beta readers, for example. Or maybe you'll have 3 rounds of readers. It really just depends on how many people you know who are interested to read your book, and how many times you really want to go through that process of collecting feedback and then making changes and then sending out to a new group of people. I found for me, having 5 to 10 people give me feedback on my book is typically enough. Because if you see like a pattern, like if you see like 3 to 4 people saying the same thing, that's a really good sign that there's something that you need to look at more. You don't need 10 people to tell you that. You know, as long as you have a few people saying kind of the same thing, then that's a good sign that you're either doing something really well or there's something that needs to be worked on. Now, if you only have 1 or 2 people saying something, I would say that doesn't really give you as much weight as maybe 3 to 5 is a good number. So where can you find these readers? Typically, I find them in writing groups I'm a part of. You can check out past videos I've filmed in the past where I list several different Christian online groups for writers, specifically writers who are seeking to self-publish their books. So I find a lot of my readers there by just posting in the announcements tab, hey, I'm looking for beta readers. And I've already got a pool of other writers that can perhaps help me out. Word of mouth is super important. Friends, family, people at church. Just letting them know that you're looking for readers and you might get some interest there. And then Facebook groups. There's groups on Facebook that are actually called beta readers or Christian beta readers, and posting your requests there can be super helpful. When you're looking for these readers, definitely look for people in your target audience. If you're writing a children's book and you only have adults as beta readers, then you're missing out in your key target audience. Likewise, if you're writing a book for mothers, but you have no mothers as beta readers, then that's probably going to be an issue. If you're writing a book for teenagers, then you need to have teenagers as beta readers. So you want to make sure that you have your target audience actually being the ones to read your book. You can have people outside of your target audience reading your book, but you want to make sure that you at least get feedback from the people that you're primarily targeting your book for, if that makes sense. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, yes, and then finally, feedback forms. So I have found Google Forms super helpful. So I can actually create questions, like in a little survey on Google Forms, and I can embed a link in my book itself. So someone might be reading, say, the first 3 chapters, they get to the end and there's a little link they can click on in Google Forms, and it takes them to questions that they can fill out. This is what I found to be the easiest way to get feedback, because Google Forms will actually collect the questions, so you can see question 1 and you can get all the answers from all, 5 or 10 of your readers. Same thing with question 2. It puts everything in a nice orderly way, because otherwise if you just send someone your book and you say, hey, let me know what you think, you're probably not going to get as good feedback, or you might just get that generic, like, this was great or this was terrible, not like a specific feedback on something very specific, like how was the theme, how was the word choice, how were the characters, for example, in this particular chapter. So the more guidance you can give your readers, the better. Also, make sure that you give them enough time to read your book. I usually like to give my readers 1 month. That's enough time usually for them to read the book. It's not too rushed, but it's also not so long of amount of time that you forget what you're writing and you forget your book altogether, that when you return to it, it feels like too much time has passed. And when you're waiting for your beta readers to read and give you feedback, you can be working on other creative projects. So it gives a nice mental break from that project that you've been so invested in. For example, right now I'm working on the 3rd book in my YA dystopian trilogy, and with my beta readers is a book called Gathered Together, which is the 2nd book in my Rosary Invitations prayer devotional series. So totally different genres. It's nice to take a break from one and be able to work on the other. I hope this video was helpful in your journey of finding alpha and beta readers for your book, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care for now. God bless.